All right, so part two of the ellipses, we're going to go ahead, if we've got them in kind of that conic form, how do we go about kind of rewriting it and finding the vertices, finding the focus, and finding those other things. So first we have to determine if it is in fact an ellipse, and how do we know if it's an ellipse? Well, we've got an x squared and a y squared. You're going to have a positive x squared and y squared, and then either the x value, the y value, or both of them is going to have a number out front. So in this case, we've got 4y squared, so we know we're going to have an ellipse plus 4y squared. So step one, kind of like we've always done with these, we are going to go ahead and get the x's together. Since we know we're probably going to complete the square, I'm just going to go ahead and put plus my box. Plus 4y squared minus 56y. We'll hold off on here for a minute with this part of it. And then we're going to set it equal to negative 193. All right, so the first part, I'm just going to leave the box in here for now. When we complete the square, we like to have single term, so we like to have leading coefficient 1, so I'm going to take out a 4. So that gives me y squared minus, and I'm going to leave the y in there, and what is that, 14? Nope. Yeah, 14. So 14y. Now I'm going to complete the square for this one, put my plus my box, and then we've got minus 193 plus the box. So now we're going to go ahead and change colors here, fill in the box. Half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, so we're going to put a 1 there. I'm going to put a 1 there. Over here, half of 14 is 7, 7 squared is 49, so we're going to put 49 there. But now on the other side, we have to be careful. We got to go 4 times 49, which is 196, so that's going to be 196. So now we factor, so that's x minus 1 squared plus 4 times y minus 7 squared equals 4. Okay, now because an ellipse we want it to equal 1, so we're going to divide all pieces by 4. So we get x minus 1 squared over 4 plus y minus 7 squared equals 1. So then there's our, so now we can get our center. Our center is going to be the opposite, so 1, 7. So I'm just going to do a quick sketch of this. 1, 7 is right there. My a squared value is equal to 4, so my a value is 2. So my a value is going there and there, so that gives me, so I subtract 2, so at negative 1, 7 and 3, 7 are my major axes. My b squared value is 1, so b is equal to 1. So these are going down 1 and up 1, so that would be 1, 8 and 1, 6 for my minor axes. And if you're going to find the focus, remember when you find the focus, kind of running out of room here, shockingly enough, we're going to find our focus, c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. So c squared is equal to 4 minus 1, so c is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. And that's probably good enough. I mean, you could put them in there for the focus. Remember, the focus goes along the minor axes. But if you just give me that plus or minus the square root of 3, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the second one. So we've got 4x squared plus y squared plus 48x minus 20y plus 144. So we'll go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so I can actually write on it. Okay, so I'm going to use the 4, but I got to factor out a 4. So I'm going to go ahead and factor that 4 out right away. So that's going to give me x squared plus 12x plus something. I got to complete the square. Plus y squared minus 20y plus something. It's going to equal negative 144 plus something plus something. Well, what are our somethings? Half of that, so that's going to be 36. So plus, not plus 36, we got to go 4 times 36. 144. Well, that's going to give us nice. 144. And then 100 and 100. So we get 4 times x plus 6 squared plus y, let's erase that, plus y minus 10 squared equals 100. Divide by 100 because it has to equal 1. So this gives us x plus 6 squared over 25 plus y minus 10 squared over 100 equals 1. So our center is at negative 610. So I'm just going to graph it real quick over here. Negative 610, close enough. My x value is changing by 5, but that's my smaller. My y value is changing by 10. So my a squared is equal to 100, so a is equal to 10. So my y value, because that's underneath the y, is changing by 10, so it's going to be there and there. So that's going to be the point negative 60 and negative 620. My minor axes, my b squared is 25, so my b value is 5. So that's changing by 5, so it's there and there. So there's what my ellipse looks like. This is the point negative 110 and negative 1110, my minor axes. My focus, c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So c squared equals 100 minus 25, which is the square root of 75, and then you could simplify that, plus or minus square root of 75. And remember that the focus now is going to go along the x-axis, so my focus is going to be my center plus the square root of 75 and minus the square root of 75. So right in there somewhere. So 5, radical 3. Right, so there are examples of the conic section ones.